Okay, good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for the introduction. As I've been advised, I'm going to keep it short and simple. You heard that I've gone to two companies. I started eGurukul, and now I run Liquid, which we do English language learning in a variety of formats: computer, tablet, mobile. One thing, when you talk of private sector, that I've realized is that you can't do education in India without the government, right? Because the government is everywhere, right? So this whole public-private partnership, or whatever you want to call it, is sort of essential, right? There's no example of any company in India that is, that scaled, technology-based company that scaled without government. And that realization has dawned on me in the last few years. The way you do business with the government is very different from the way you do in private sector, and I thought initially I would just stick to the private sector, but it's not. In my view, it's not possible. Right? Now, what's the problem there? This whole, I think, the primary issue is trust, right? The whole for-profit kind of thing, right? Which everybody, it's like, top secret, bottom open kind of, everybody knows you're making money, but nobody wants to admit it, right? So therefore people have to resort to different, so it's a bit of a, really pointless deception we're engaging in, right? What's the harm in making money if you deliver quality, right? And I think on the government side, there's a clear, they have their rules which are very well documented. And I use an anecdote. There's a professor of mine from IIM Calcutta, where I did my MBA. He teaches at another business school in Delhi now. He was on a committee that was advising government on setting up new IIMs before these IIMs were set up. And he said we went to make this presentation in the ministry, and they were talking about that, all these large business schools are coming into the country, and we have to compete with them, and all of that. And he said, the only question that got asked was, do your construction costs meet PWD norms? Right? That was the only question in the whole presentation. So the whole system is warped, right? You look at, and I think all of you from education, you must have seen government tenders so I'm not blaming the government here, right? I think we're part of the system, and as a private, I'll just come to that, right? But you see, the whole system there's no mention of quality. There's no mention, you mentioned in the beginning, move from input to output, right? There's no mention of outcomes, right? There was a World Bank, large World Bank project, I'll not take the specific name, but, it's a thick document, some $500 million, and there was a committee and trying to evaluate how this, that. There was not one mention of outcomes, right? Somebody wants to give money, somebody wants to take money, somebody wants to spend it, and that's it, right? Now, and it's not a trivial problem, right? You see, on the private sector side, right? See all these companies that have made successful businesses selling stuff into schools and, all this ICT stuff, right? You ask these companies, the trouble they're having is they're not getting adequate value for the content, right? So our obsession, the technology is seen as some sort of hardware and software, right? The whole learning piece, what does that software do, or what does that hardware do to the learner, is completely missing, right? So, and like I said, those who've been in the e-learning industry, we have this three sort of ball matrix, we call it, content, technology, and services, right? Services is typically, services that go towards making the content and technology work together to make learning effective, right? Ultimately, that's all our objective, right? 95% of the money, if not 100%, will go on, 80% will go on hardware, maybe 10% will go on software and some LMS and all, and maybe 2 or 3%, if somebody is forgotten about it, may go on learning services, right? Now, whose fault it is? I don't know. It's a system. It's a vicious cycle. as companies, private sector companies, my view is I don't think we've innovated enough, right? On the customer side, I think there is lack of appreciation of the value. And as companies, you don't get value, you don't have money to invest. Now somebody has got to break that cycle, right? And you know, I was roaming around outside, and I'm sure you've noticed it. I was talking to a few friends here who are sitting here. You know, there's a lot of stuff, the same stuff we're trying to do in different ways, right? I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, you know, who are trying to start off. I think people are now asking hard questions. How do we make learners learn? Right? I think that's if there's one challenge the private sector has, it's that. Right? Everybody says, okay, you know, we know lack of teachers is a problem, lack of quality teachers is a problem. We know the only way we can address the challenge of education is through technology. Right? We also know that there are no models yet that you can say, this works. Right? So we need to innovate. We need to figure out what works. Right? I think we have to broaden the definition of ICT as a private sector, if you specifically for the private sector, to say how does it impact the learner, right? And I think one of the big missing pieces, obviously, is that, you know, and globally, I was at a conference in London last year, I think, and I was talking to a couple of speakers as to why ICT has not kept up to the promise that it has made, right? To the promise it has. And I think one big answer that is coming is faculty, right? We don't, as private players, as suppliers, as providers, we do not focus enough on the faculty, right? Faculty for too long has been looked upon as a villain. My belief is they're an integral part of the process. If you don't empower the faculty, we don't reach the student. Right? India, we don't have infrastructure to reach the students directly yet, right? And even if that happens, I mean, in countries in US, bulk of training, bulk of learning happens in the classroom, right? Yet all our products, all our systems are designed for self-study, right? So I think there's a lot of expertise available, there's a lot of money available, there's a lot of, there's a lot of demand, I think, for the right product. The big challenge for us, right, and I ask this question all the time because I run a company too, and my, just to say that my view is let's figure out how to make use of technology to make the learner learn. And I'll just end by saying that there's enough technology available, right? Technology is not a bottleneck. It is the application of technology that is missing. You know, you talk of mobiles, tablets, new technologies come, tablets, people are bunging a lot of content with tablets and selling it, right? But, I mean, what I think is to spend more time is seeing how fundamentally it can impact the learning and teaching process, right? And whoever tells you that technology is a limitation, you know, he's lying. Right? This technology is not a limitation. I mean, okay, it's a limitation in a broad sense that you never have enough bandwidth or enough computing power, or everybody can't have a iPad. But there is a whole lot of stuff you can do with the technology that's available and available at all price points. Right? The question is, how do we make it work? So, you know, next entrepreneur, if somebody is sitting here, would actually take a lot of good products that are available in the market, right, for different types of learning, and just figure out how to make them work for a learner. And you'll make more money than you would if you started, you know, a lot of us start by, making fresh investments in a lot of areas that have already been invested in, right? And I think that's not the way to go. Right? So final points, just let's focus on application of technology, right? And for it to really scale, we need to figure out, and I don't know what the answer to that is, how to improve, how to evaluate quality, right? Like I said, any government or any tender, I mean, even private sector, there's no mention of how you evaluate the quality of content, right? And that's a big challenge, right? As providers, right? I face all that all the time. Now, I'm not saying I'm right and they're wrong, right? I mean, I do the same with my vendors. But the point is we need some of those standards, right? Some way of doing it. And the onus lies, we have to break that vicious cycle, and the onus really lies on us. Thank you very much.